So with my time playing this game, I've been asked quite a lot to look over people's accounts and see what I do differently and if I can give any advice and stuff like that. And a trend I've noticed is black diamonds are quite often spent what I would consider very suboptimally. I think the main culprits of this is mostly just impatience or a lack of foresight in terms of maximizing the value of your spending. So I'm just going to run over how I personally view spending and my sort of philosophies when it comes to it to get the most value out of it. So first of all, you don't want to be spending on things which you can get through free-to-play means or there are good free-to-play alternatives for. So the most basic example of this is you don't want to be buying diamonds or speed-ups or resources, because you can just wait to get these from alliance gifts, you can gather for the resources, you can try and join a bigger alliance to get more speed-ups and diamonds, stuff like that. Obviously, if you're like a top account and you need to rush retraining or something, there are probably situations where you can do it if you really need to keep fighting and you don't necessarily need to spend elsewhere. But for most mid-spenders, I would encourage just patience, just improve the permanent value of your account and just let this stuff come in time, because it doesn't need to be rushed. Now outside of this, there are some things you can spend on which still have decent free-to-play alternatives. So an example of this is, for example, the honor token. This castle skin you get is actually very, very good. It's like 10% total attack and 5% total defense and 5% total health. So whilst this isn't as good as, say, where is it? Like City of Stars, which gives 20% total attack, it's got the area effect, it's got the strong owned bonus. Obviously City of Stars is preferable if you can get it. But the amount of money you'd have to invest in this is so much, and you could spend that elsewhere. And if you have this, it's not like you wouldn't have a castle skin otherwise. Because if you were using this instead, yes, it isn't as good. It's not like you won't have a castle skin equipped. You'll still have the 10% total attack, so you're only up like 10% total attack if you use this. The total defense is the same. And the health, personally, is also the same. So basically all you're gaining is the passive army and rally size, and 10% total attack, which is decent, but this is basically a 10,000 black diamond skin. So those 10,000 black diamonds could be spent so much better elsewhere. Other examples of this is like dragon skills. You could go for the legion skills. Legion skills are very good, especially if you only get like 1 or 2 on the last like few slots of your dragon. But you can just put all your dragon XP into the gold attacks and get them all to 9 and gain the leeching effects in them at 9. And they're still very, very good free-to-play alternatives. So even if you get those legion skills, you can have a free-to-play alternative. It's not like if you don't have them, you won't be getting anything. Whereas there are things in the game where if you don't have them, you won't be getting anything. So for example, troop appearances. If you don't have Kingsguard Bowman, you just don't have any of these stats. And these stats, they don't need to be equipped. They're just permanent and passive on your account. You gain them all the time. Your lord doesn't have to be present. You don't have to have them equipped like here. None of that matters. You're just gaining free stats that you would not have otherwise. Also like that is commanders. Like if you don't have commanders unlocked or at certain rarities, you just won't have their tavern stats. And the tavern stats of leadership and combat rate make a huge, huge difference. And again, think of how far those 10,000 black diamonds that Sea of Stars would cost would go just for troop appearances and just for leveling your commanders. And just for tavern stats, nothing else, like PvP aside, formations aside, just tavern stats. So I really think the basis you want to build your account up in terms of spending is troop appearances and tavern stats with commanders. You will probably want to at least get one paid commander up to gold and really focus your epic tokens into it for Awakening, because Awakening right now is the most power creeped way of improving your stats in the game. So something like Annie or Julian or Layla, if you can really commit to that at 4 stars, that would be good, just so your epic tokens don't go totally to waste. But even with commanders, if you don't have any epic ones at gold, you can still have free-to-play alternatives. So if you have Andrea at 3 star, for example, you could just run Haley at 3 star and then spend all the money it would cost to get Andrea to gold and then get all the tokens to get it to 3 stars elsewhere. And that would take your account so much further than getting Andrea up there would. Because the attack is about the same, you'll easily be able to get the 4 star ability on Haley, whereas you wouldn't for Andrea, because 600 epic tokens is a nightmare. You'll get an extra rotation of our active ability off in combat from 4 stars to 3, and then getting an epic commander up to 3 star will probably be thousands of black diamonds overall, to be honest. So you could spend that elsewhere. There are a few other examples of things that don't have free-to-play alternatives. So for example, the Sapphire Dragon. The Agile skill here, the only way of obtaining this is through black diamonds. There is no free-to-play alternative for this. You either have this through purchases or you don't. And this Agile Dragon skill, this is really OP, to be honest. To get this to rank 1, you'd need to buy the pack, I think, 4 times. So obviously this is very high budget, just like City of Stars or the Legion Dragon skills, but it gives passive army size, rally size, and march speed. And then the active skill, those stats will also lock when you join events. So if you join AC, for example, with Agile active, you will actually have plus 20k army size, but it's passive army size. So it will be multiplied by army size increases. So with a 50%, that will be 30,000 army size, and then 50,000 rally size too. So in total, that will be what, like 80,000 size on your rallies just from having the Sapphire Dragon to Drake 1. That makes a huge difference, and there is no free-to-play alternative to that at all, at the time of posting at least. Maybe they'll make this accessible to an extent in the future, but it would somewhat surprise me, to be honest, because it is so effective. So as a general rule, that is why I'd look to spend on. It's focused first and foremost on things you cannot get either free-to-play alternatives for at all, or good free-to-play alternatives for. Focus on exclusive paid content, which will give you your account permanent value and will never diminish. So if you buy research speed-ups, for example, you will eventually reach a point where you max out all the researches, and then the black diamonds you spend on that will then be effectively wasted, and you could have spent it elsewhere. And you could have progressed your account more, but you were a bit too impatient, and that's a bit of a waste.